This year's Heritage Fest will celebrate significant milestones in Singapore's healthcare and culinary journey. The showcase will include Singapore General Hospital's 200th anniversary and the inscription of hawker culture on UNESCO's list of intangible cultural heritage. The Heritage Fest will go hybrid for the first time, and there will be more than 100 on-site and online programs like virtual tours, video documentaries and hands-on workshops. Other highlights include the contemporary interpretation of a traditional kampong house constructed using metal mesh. It will be displayed on the National Museum's front lawn. You can also visit organic farm Kin Yan to learn about wheatgrass and grow your own mushroom. Or spice things up by learning how to mix spices with jaya and visit local artisan Nanyang sauce to see how soya sauce is brewed. Festival goers will also get to tour historic buildings like SGH to find out about the country's medical history. Singapore Heritage Fest will run from the 3rd to the 30th of May.
For more, we're joined by Festival Director David Chu and Lee Chin Siong, third-generation owner of Heng for Tong Medical Hall. Good evening to both of you. David, let's start with you. Where does health and food rank in Singapore's heritage, and why are these themes important today?
Thanks, Dawn, for having me on the show tonight. Just to give you an idea, maybe just for comparison's sake, I think before COVID, the festival typically has like 60 to 80 programs. But this year we're presenting more than 130 programs that uncover stories relating to our healthcare history and food heritage from all over the island. So it's really a bumper crop, so to speak. I think once we started uncovering the stories, we couldn't stop. We really started out wanting to celebrate, how Singapore food, was recognized internationally by UNESCO with the inscription of hawker culture last year. But I think I don't need to elaborate how much food is really central to every Singaporean's life and well-being, which is why we chose food culture as a key theme for this year's festival. But jokes aside, of course, 2021, also marks a very momentous milestone in Singapore's medical history. Not just because our nation's first general hospital, Singapore General Hospital commemorates its 200th anniversary this year, but also I think we found it extremely poignant to spotlight on medical practices, institutions, healthcare workers, as the COVID-19 situation has really brought healthcare to the forefront of all our lives.
Coming back to food just quickly, Singapore's food culture is unique in that it has roots elsewhere, and we've sort of given it our own spin, if you like. How is the festival exploring this notion?
Steve, there is a saying, we are what we eat, and indeed the food that we eat reflects the roots and the heritage, where we come from. But you're absolutely right, I think in saying also that I think today we give it, our own spin, right? One aspect of that I can think of in the programs that in the festival is through home cooking. I think it's important for all families and all, families of different backgrounds and cultures. And I think home cooking is really the language of love in our culture. But every generation adapts, right, and evolves the family recipe. So we have programs like the Necessary Ingredients video series. We hear from home cooks how they've adapted the dishes of their childhood, that their grandparents, their parents cooked for them. And some of these recipes, recipes their grandparents brought with them to Singapore as migrants, but how they're also passing them on to the next generation, but with some adaptation in ingredients, cooking utensils or method. Another program that we have, This Is What We Eat at Home. We see 6 children and youth from different backgrounds and cultures documenting the food that they eat at home, which their various caregivers, from ailing grandparents to single parent, how they creatively adapt their family heirloom recipes amidst constraints in their family situations. And also this morning, I spoke with Jaya from Jaya Spices, as you showcased just now. Jaya was telling me how he's had to adapt his spice mixes for today's taste. So compared to the original mixes that his grandfather brought to Singapore, today's mixes are less spicy. There's increasing use of more Western spices like paprika instead of chili powder. And Jay himself has also come out with new mixes, like his very own take on Japanese curry. So I think food culture, at the end of the day, it's not just about the food itself, but it's also about the meal time, the time that we spend with loved ones, where we create memories together. It's also the passing down of knowledge about our traditions from one generation to the next. But really, every generation adapts to a situation, to what's available on hand, and changing tastes.
Speaking of passing down knowledge to the next generation, Chin Siong, let's bring you in on the conversation here. Your family runs a traditional Chinese medicine practice. How are you contributing to the festival?
Basically, my medical hall, Heng Tong, has been in operation since 1957. So we are honored to participate in a small way by sharing a simple herbal story that spans across 4 generations. So we all benefited by growing up from consuming herbs at different stages of our life journey. And in addition, we will be showcasing a virtual tour on our unique and antique TCM equipments and herbs.
4 generations then, Chin Siong. That's been around for quite a while. What has helped it stand the test of time?
I think that as a trade itself, I think it really bears down to the sheer hard work and frugalities of my grandmother as well as my parents. They accumulated a vast knowledge of the herbs and believe that in giving authentic herbs at fair price to our customer. And we are actually a small group of fast diminishing medical hall that can confidently assemble a complete herbal ingredients from a prescribed list.
David, heritage, preservation of all of these, of culture, nostalgia too, these are important themes to young Singaporeans who want to know more about Singapore's history. How does the festival lend weight to their aspirations?
Well, Dawn, you'll see in the festival programming and partners that we feature from the heritage business owners and practitioners. I think they're really a good mix of those from the older generation together with second and third generation owners who are taking over these traditional businesses and associations into the 21st century, all the while retaining the heart essence of the business, as you can see from Chin Siong. And his parents' medical hall business. I think it really goes to show that, our cultural heritage is a living and evolving one. And yes, you're right. I think we do see the younger generation really, being more interested and invested in issues of heritage, preservation, and nostalgia. In fact, I would even go so far as to say that they're interested in playing more active roles in participating and learning more about shared heritage, which is why the festival will be taking a new direction from this year to move away from spotlighting different precincts towards a more thematic approach instead. So with this year's focus on food culture, for example, we also dive into very current topics such as climate change, how this impacts food sustainability, food security, the very food that we may take for granted. I think we also want festival goers to attend the programs, but also to think about what they've experienced. So a few programs this year will have post-event dialogues for festival goers to unpack what they've experienced, to think deeper about, say, issues of food security after they visited a farm. But going even further, I think, as you said, to lend weight to their aspirations, if I may use your words, we're also starting for the first time to introduce opportunities for festival goers who are really interested in certain topics to go further and playing more active roles should they wish, be it through simply supporting a heritage business with their wallets or volunteering, with their time and energy. So I think on one hand, the new broader thematic approach really allows us to reach out to engage a wider group of audiences. But really further to this, I think we're able to give more breadth and depth to the Heritage Festival experience. I really offer festival goers a more invested take on various issues relating to the thematic focuses.
Well, certainly the more engagement we have on heritage, the better. Gentlemen, thank you very much for sharing your thoughts with us this evening. We're speaking there to David Chu there, and third generation owner of Heng Tong Medical Hall, Lee Chin Siong.